What could make God's chosen king visit a witch in the middle of the night? A dark spirit began tormenting Saul, and only one boy could calm it down. But one day his anger broke. Saul began hating David. He hunted David for years, through caves, through deserts, trying to kill him. He killed 85 priests just for helping David hide. The night before his final battle, Saul secretly went to a witch to talk to the dead. Stay until the end, because what the dead prophet told King Saul terrified him so much that he fell to the ground. For a long time, Israel had no king. The people lived in 12 tribes with their own leaders. But when enemies attacked, each tribe struggled to unite with the other tribes. The people became afraid, so they went to Samuel, the last judge of Israel. The people told Samuel, "Give us a king like all the other nations have." Samuel warned them that a king would take their money, land, and animals. He would also make their sons fight in his army, but the people would not listen. They still wanted a king. So the search for Israel's first king began. At that time, there was a young man named Saul. He came from Benjamin, one of Israel's smallest tribes. He was also taller than every other man in Israel. One day, some of his father's donkeys went missing. Saul and his servant spent several days looking for them. When they could not find them, the servant suggested asking Samuel for help. Samuel was a prophet. Before Saul arrived, God told Samuel that Israel's future ruler was coming. As soon as Samuel saw Saul, God said, "This is the man who will lead my people." Samuel invited Saul to eat with him and gave him the best seat.
I am not worthy.
The next morning, Samuel anointed Saul. Samuel said, "The Spirit of the Lord will come upon you with power. You will become a different man." Everything Samuel promised soon came true. Later, Samuel called Israel together to show them their new king. Samuel used small objects called lots to show whom God had chosen. First, the tribe of Benjamin was chosen. Then, Saul's family was chosen. Finally, the choice fell on Saul. But no one could find him. He was hiding behind the bags and supplies because he was afraid of becoming king. The people brought Saul out. They saw that he was much taller than the other men and shouted, "Long live the king!" Israel finally had its first king, but some men still doubted him. They asked, "How can this man save us?" Saul heard them, but said nothing. Soon, Saul got the chance to prove himself. An enemy king named Nahash surrounded an Israelite city called Jabesh Gilead. He threatened to tear out the right eye of every man there. The terrified people sent messengers to ask for help. The messengers found Saul working in a field. When he heard the news, God's Spirit filled him with power and anger. Saul cut 2 oxen into pieces and sent the pieces across Israel. He warned that this would happen to the oxen of anyone who refused to fight. Thousands of men joined Saul. He divided them into groups and attacked before sunrise. The enemy was not ready. Saul's army fought until the hottest part of the day, defeated them, and saved Jabesh Gilead. After the battle, some people wanted to kill the men who had doubted Saul. But Saul stopped them. He said, "No one will die today, because the Lord saved Israel." Saul gave the praise to God. The people now saw that he was brave and merciful. All of Israel accepted him as king. But Saul had a weakness. When he became afraid, he stopped trusting God. This weakness would slowly destroy him. Israel soon fought the Philistines, one of its strongest enemies. The Philistines had iron weapons and war carts pulled by horses. Saul's soldiers were terrified. Samuel told Saul to wait 7 days. Then Samuel would burn an animal as an offering to God before the battle. This was an important act of worship. But Saul's frightened soldiers began leaving the camp. Saul feared that he would lose his army, so he stopped waiting and burned the offering himself. As soon as Saul finished, Samuel arrived.
Before we continue, these videos takes hours and hours to make. Please like and subscribe and comment which country you are watching this from.
Samuel told him, "You have done a foolish thing. You did not obey the command God gave you. Because of this, your kingdom will not continue." Saul had allowed fear to control him instead of trusting God. This was the beginning of his fall. The fighting continued. Saul's son Jonathan bravely attacked a Philistine camp and caused fear among the enemy. But Saul made a foolish promise. He said that any Israelite soldier who ate before the battle ended would be killed. The soldiers became weak because they had no food. Jonathan had not heard the command, so he ate some honey. Saul later learned what happened and was ready to kill his own son. But the soldiers refused to let Jonathan die because he had helped them win. Saul's foolish choices were now putting his family in danger. Later, God told Saul to attack the Amalekites, enemies who had once attacked Israel. Saul was ordered to destroy everything they owned. Saul won, but he kept their king, Agag, alive. He also kept their best sheep and cattle. Saul claimed that he had obeyed God, but Samuel could hear the sheep and cattle behind him. Saul said he saved the animals to offer them to God. Samuel knew this was only an excuse. He answered, "To obey is better than sacrifice." Samuel then gave Saul terrible news. He said, "Because you rejected God's command, God has rejected you as king." Saul begged Samuel to stay and grabbed his robe. The cloth tore in Saul's hand. Samuel said God would tear the kingdom away from Saul's family in the same way. Saul would remain king for years, but his sons would not rule after him. After this, an evil spirit began to trouble Saul. He became full of fear and anger. His servants brought a young shepherd named David to play music for him. David's harp made Saul feel calm. Saul liked David and made him one of the men who carried his weapons. But Saul did not know that Samuel had already anointed David. God had chosen David to become the next king. The Philistines returned with a giant soldier named Goliath. Every day, Goliath called for one Israelite to fight him. The winner's nation would rule the loser's nation. For 40 days, Saul and his soldiers were too afraid to face him. David came to bring food to his brothers. He heard Goliath insulting Israel and God, so he offered to fight him. Saul tried to stop David because he was only a young shepherd. Goliath had trained for war for years. David said God had helped him protect his sheep from lions and bears. He trusted God to help him again. Saul finally agreed and gave David his own armor. But the armor was too heavy, and David was not used to it. He took it off. David fought Goliath with only his sling and 5 smooth stones. His first stone struck Goliath in the head and killed him. David's victory should have made Saul happy. But when the army returned home, women came out singing. They sang, "Saul has killed thousands, but David has killed tens of thousands." Saul became jealous and angry because David received more praise. He also feared that David would take his kingdom. From that day on, Saul watched him closely. The next day, David played the harp while Saul held a spear. Suddenly, Saul threw it at David. David moved away. Saul tried twice, but both times he missed. Saul then sent David into dangerous battles, hoping the Philistines would kill him. But David kept winning, and the people loved him even more. Saul offered his daughter Michal to David. But first, David had to kill 100 Philistines. Saul hoped he would die trying. Instead, Saul had to allow the man alive. Finally, Saul ordered his men to kill David. Jonathan, who was David's closest friend, warned him. Michal helped David escape through a window. She placed a statue in his bed and covered it with blankets to fool the soldiers. David ran away and later met Jonathan one last time. They promised that they would always care for each other's families. Then they separated in tears. David reached a town called Nob. A priest named Ahimelech gave him food and Goliath's sword. Ahimelech did not know David was running from Saul, but Saul's servant Doeg saw this and told the king. Saul now believed that everyone was secretly helping David. He called Ahimelech and the other priests to him. Ahimelech explained that he knew nothing about the fight between Saul and David, but Saul refused to listen. Saul ordered his guards to kill the priests. They refused because these men served God. So Doeg killed 85 priests and attacked their town. Only one priest escaped. His name was Abiathar, and he ran to David for safety. This was Saul's darkest act. The king who once showed mercy was now killing innocent people to protect his power. David hid in the desert with several hundred men. Saul chased him with 3,000 soldiers. During the search, Saul entered a cave alone. He did not know that David and his men were hiding inside. David's men told him to kill Saul, but David refused to kill the king God had chosen. He cut off a piece of Saul's robe and let him leave. Later, David held up the cloth to show that he could have killed Saul. Saul began to cry. He told David, "You are a better man than I am." For a short time, Saul understood how wrong he had been, but he soon started chasing David again. Later, David entered Saul's camp while the army slept. He found Saul's spear and water jug beside his head. One of David's men wanted to kill Saul, but David refused again. He took only the spear and jug. The next morning, David showed Saul what he had taken. Saul again admitted his sin, but David no longer trusted his words. The two men never met again. Years later, the Philistines prepared for one final battle. Saul asked God what to do, but no answer came. Samuel was dead, and Saul had killed many priests who could have helped him. Saul felt completely alone. Saul then did something he had forbidden. He hid his identity and visited a woman who claimed she could speak with the dead. He asked her to bring up Samuel. When Samuel appeared, he said Israel would lose the battle. Saul and his sons would die the next day. Saul fell to the floor in fear. The powerful king could no longer stand. He had not eaten all day, and he had no strength left. The woman gave him food before he returned to his army and waited for morning. The next day, the Philistines attacked at Mount Gilboa. Israel's army could not stop them. 3 of Saul's sons died, including Jonathan. Then enemy archers badly wounded Saul. Saul feared that the Philistines would capture and torture him. He asked the man who carried his weapons to kill him, but the man refused. So Saul placed his sword against the ground and fell on it. The other man then killed himself too. The Philistines hung Saul's body on a city wall. But the people of Jabesh Gilead heard about it. Saul had saved them many years earlier. Their strongest men traveled all night, recovered the bodies of Saul and his sons, and buried them. Saul's life had ended in sadness. But the first people he saved still remembered the good man he had once been. Saul began as a humble man who was afraid to become king. God gave him strength and helped him win great battles. But Saul became more afraid of losing his crown than of disobeying God. That fear destroyed his peace, his family, and finally his life. Now the way was open for David, the shepherd Saul had tried so hard to kill.
These videos takes hours and hours to make. Please like and subscribe and comment which country you are watching this from.